Welcome to the Magic of Emotional Intelligence series. I am your host, Abiola, Salami, the performance strategist. On this series, we share emotional intelligence insights to enable career professionals, entrepreneurs, and politicians achieve peak performance in their space. On this episode, we shall be discussing how human resources practitioners can apply emotional intelligence to drive peak performance. So whether you are an aspiring practitioner in HR or you are already practicing in HR, you will find this episode quite valuable for the work that you do. But before we get into it, let's go for a quick break. One of the most important roles in an organization is that of the human resources officer. The stakes are even higher when the role is Chief Human Resources Officer. This role is directly responsible for management of the entire workforce, which is the employee experience, individual performance, and corporate productivity. Most organizations have competent human resources officers. Only a few can boast of human resources officers that are emotionally intelligent. The Chief Human Resources Officer are not your everyday managers. They are human resources officers that oversee the activity of other human resources officers in the organization. This implies that if a Chief Human Resources Officer gets it wrong, a lot of things can go south in that organization. Managing human beings is one of the most complicated job descriptions in the corporate world. However, there is a science to it, and if the principles are applied correctly, it can be both a rewarding and productive venture. People generally act on their emotions more than they do on their logical thinking. The Chief Human Resources Officer who seeks to drive high performance should realize this and use emotionally intelligent ways of channeling those emotions into measurable outcomes. This is because when you understand why a person acts the way they do, it is easier to direct their energies to activities that meet your productivity metrics. Here are some insights that can help you as a human resources practitioner to apply emotional intelligence to drive performance in your space. Number one, know yourself. The very first thing that emotional intelligence teaches is self-awareness. Because until you really know who you are, you can neither know nor effectively manage others. What type of leader are you? Which style is your predominant signature? Authoritative? Democratic? Coaching? Is that leadership style improving the performance of the team you supervise? Is it impeding their growth? Are you choleric? Are you sanguine? Are you melancholic? Are you phlegmatic? These are critical questions to ask and you have answers for. A lot of HR practitioners are quick to point fingers when they really should be holding up a mirror to themselves. If there is a consistent outcome, a complaint, a praise, or consequence from your interactions with the rest of the team, it is a signal for you to know what to start doing, what to stop doing, what you should do less or what you should do more. Essentially, leading yourself is the prerequisite for leading other people. Number two, know your people. Over time, human resources practitioners should be able, with a high level of confidence, profile every member of staff based on their strengths and areas of improvement. This is quite different from the scrutiny that is deployed during job interviews. It is an on-the-job assessment that takes into cognizance the work ethic and patterns manifested by a team member. This is very important for human resource practitioners to do because most times there is a mismatch between the job role and the skill set possessed by an employee, thereby asking a fish to fly. An emotionally intelligent human resource practitioner will spot this and effect the necessary changes as soon as practicable. Number 3 is capacity building. This is non-negotiable for any human resource practitioner that wants to drive peak performance. The simple fact is that if people know better, they generally do better. Organizing training sessions for the team is not always owing to incompetence. It may be to correct some errors, yes, but it may also be to update the team on industry best practice or adoption of new technology. Regarding learning, human resource practitioners must do 3 things. 1, identify resource persons within and outside your organization. 2, deploy relevant learning interventions. And 3, adopt learning technologies that makes learning scalable. Staying ahead of the curve requires that organizations arm their staff members to the teeth, a task that is usually spearheaded by HR. Emotional intelligence suggests that if you set a goal for an employee, you must also ensure that the person has the basic required competencies to perform the task assigned to them. Number 4, reward performance. It is not just enough to state key performance indicators. Human resource practitioners must also attach rewards for employees that meet these metrics. This is usually called the carrot and stick approach in management. Human resource practitioners shouldn't just sit back and hope that employees will do the most in the workplace. They must put systems in place to guarantee productivity. For most organizations, salaries are fixed. Hence, there is little incentive for employees who go above and beyond the scope of their work. What can be done by emotionally intelligent human resources practitioners is to apply the combination of the fixed income and a piece rate system in a situation where employees shouldn't just be paid for the time they spend in the workplace, but also they should be paid on the output that they generate. There should be a based income for a job role, then add-ons that are directly proportional to the performance. This is a standard feature in the game of football. The players get bonuses for goals scored, trophies won, extra matches, in addition to their fixed weekly incomes. Number 5, healthy work culture. Toxic work environments stifle productivity regardless of the collective competencies of the workforce. For example, office politics is a universal phenomenon and there is hardly any organization that is immune to it. However, when certain behaviors or groups become an opposition to the overarching vision of your organization, the human resource practitioners should step in and restore order. Just as the rule of law is a fundamental feature of functional government, the internal environment of organizations should foster meritocracy, democratization of information, and decency. The human resource practitioner should ensure that there is a safe space, especially for lower-ranking employees to seek redress because they might be prevented from doing their best by an overbearing supervisor. Human resource practitioners must therefore put in place a protocol for probing such complaints in an objective manner. Every incident must be judged objectively on its merits and appropriate sanctions meted out accordingly. When everyone knows that they can discharge their duties without fear or favor, it reflects on the organization's productivity. Number 6, team bonding activities. You see, away from the physical locations of the workplace, human resource practitioners should regularly organize informal but important team bonding events and activities. The central idea is to create an environment where not only employees can let their head down, but also to allow everyone to share their pain points. Ideas for growth are welcome there, and any other issue that affects their productivity without the fear of any punitive measure. Most employees, especially the lower-ranking employees, are usually guarded in the workplace, virtually working on eggshells throughout their careers. This off-site event, where titles are relaxed, provides an excellent platform for those at the top to get very constructive feedback that can drive best practices and a higher performance by the organization. Number 7, work closely with your chief finance officers and your chief operating officer. An emotionally intelligent chief human resources officers know that to achieve their set goals within the organization, aside from the CEO, which obviously sits at the top of the leadership structure, it is equally important to have a healthy work relationship with the CFO and the COO respectively. This is because while you, as the Chief Human Resource Officer, you are principally responsible for managing the relationship between the organization and its employees, the CFO and the COO are specifically responsible for managing the finances and operations of the organization respectively. Their actions make an inevitable incursion into the jurisdiction of the CHRO. Hence, this trinity must ensure that they are always on the same page on important issues that affect the employees. For example, the Chief Human Resource Officer can recommend a promotion for an employee, but the CFO may disagree on the financial compensation that comes with such a move. Also, the production model used by the COO can stifle productivity and make a competent employee look incompetent. So, you as the Chief Human Resource Officer, the CFO and the COO, that trinity must always be in sync. Number 8, advocate for more tech-driven process. In this 21st century, there are no prices for use of manual approaches for processes that can easily be automated. Again, this goes back to the need to work closely with the CFO and the COO as a human resources leader. Human resource is a great asset to every organization, but it also suffers the law of diminishing returns. It is not practical to expect employees to carry out certain tasks regularly without fatigue and other human elements kicking in at some point. Mechanizing certain aspects of production, deploying technology that can efficiently produce desired outcomes should be championed by the CHRO. When the COO and CFO sees it, the CEO can elect to adopt this and the CFO approves the financial layout required to implement such innovative ideas. Number 9 is diverse workforce. You see, inclusion is one of the biggest themes, not just in the corporate world, but in the entire world today. A diversified workforce speaks not only to the aggregating competences from different facets of the industry your organization operates in, but also to gender inclusion, to race inclusion, to age demographic inclusion. This is because for large organizations, having more of the same kind of employees generally tend to make such workplaces less innovative and consequently less productive. Most global brands have very diverse teams from top management, middle-level management to low-level management. It is therefore important that human resources practitioners promote diversity by implementing programs to reduce bias and prejudices. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you obtained the insights from this episode. You can equip yourself and your team some more for peak performance by getting my new book, The Magic of Emotional Intelligence. Visit our website to get your copies. You can also follow me at Abiola Champ on all social media platforms. For coaching, training, speaking, and collaboration inquiries, please send us an email to hello@abiolachamp.com. Until I see you on the next episode, keep rocking your world like a champion.